Day 106, the poet speaks about that magnificent Sree Ram and just being with what all, and how is it possible ever to speak or to compare with anything in the world. So here he says how it is incomparable he is to anything in this world. We'll see in the poet's own language. Manarama kalpataru Kaamadhenu nidhi sara Chintamani kayavanu जयाचे नियोगे गडे सर्वसत्ता तया संयता कायसी कोन anta. He continues. उभा kalpawrukshs दुःखवाहे तया अंतरे सर्वता ते चिराहे जनीं सज्जनी वादहा वाडवावा पुढे मागुता शोक जीवीं धरावा. Sorry. So here he says पुढे मागुता शोक जीवीं धरावा. So he says hereafter matula, here before shoka, grief, jivi inside one, dharava holds. So here actually we are speaking about the grieflessness state. Then why is he speaking of holding on to grief? How can one be always clinged on to grief? Is a question that we are supposed to think. So here he says, Bhubha kalpawruksha tali dukkavahe taya antari sarvada techirahe. He says, if a person stands in the shade of kalpavruksha, is a mythological tree. It's called the wish-fulfilling tree. In case if a person stands under the shade of kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree, how? Sorrowfully, means without knowing that he is under that tree which grants whatever he thinks. And if he thinks of sorrow, he'll be sorrowful all through. If he thinks of happiness, he gets happiness all through. He says, never a moment in his heart will sorrow leave him free. So it's Taya Antari Sarvada Techirahi, because when he is standing under a kalpavruksha tree, the kalpavruksha tree bestows whatever you think. So if you stand sorrowful, then the kalpataru, it has no discrimination. It says tathastu, be sorrowful. Then the sorrow will never ever leave us, my dear friends. So similarly he says janim sajjanim vadaha vadavava pude maguta shoka jivim dharava. He says, so as a person is standing under a kalpavruksha tree without grief, and where the grief becomes eternal in him, similarly amongst the saintly people, if we start to argue with them without understanding the philosophical traits, then we will never be happy. Think. If a person says something, you try to understand. Or, you should not argue. You can humbly question how. For example, I tell you that nowadays, it's the world of electronic gadgets, and a person has purchased an e-vehicle, a two-wheeler, and at home they used a gun water spray and they washed. And after washing, what do they do in the service center? In the service center, after they wash, they take a industrial hot air blower and they blow the air all over and see to it that the vehicle from inside is totally dry, so that tomorrow, so that when you ignition, when you switch on, the circuit doesn't short. But at home, without doing that, if you give a hot water spray, and if the water jets into one of the openings, either at the clown at the front or at the the dashboard on the top or somewhere, and if you turn on the vehicle when it is moist or wet inside, then there'll be a short and the earth circuit breaker drops there. And for this, if you advise saying that, my dear friend, these vehicles should be wiped with a 500 gsm cloth, not to gun spray water. Then if they argue, then in monsoon should I wear a raincoat for the scooter and drive? What does it mean? Is it total ignorance or is it height of arrogance? In that manner, where will you get relief? Think. If you know, okay. Then if you don't know, listen. If you don't know, and if you argue for the sake of argument to prove that you are smart, who is at loss? The saints are not at loss at any given point of time. If you are with the saints, be happy with them. He says, Janim Sajjanim Vada Vada Vava. He says, don't get into arguments, discuss with them. Oh, is it so? Then what? Oh, you mean to say that when we jet, the water had entered into the front clown or front cover or into the dashboard? If it rains, won't it go? Then say rainwater, it falls and it slides down. When you give that pressure, it penetrates, it jets into a small drop is enough for the circuit to short. Yes, you can discuss, but not. And then now he says how you can be happy. He says, Mana, how he says words fall to explain Sree Ramachandra, or words fall to explain the saintly being personality. He says, Mana Rama Kalpataru Kaamadhenu Nidhi Sara Chintamani Kayavanu Jaya Chini Yogi Gade Sarvasat Taya Samyata Kayasi Kona Anta. So here if you see continuously they have explained him with three different things. He says, oh mind, understand. Kalpataru is wish fulfilling tree, Kaamadhenu is the wish fulfilling cow, and Chintamani is the wish fulfilling gem. So here it is praise, is compared, and says, is it comparable? He says, Rama is beyond all this, then how can you be sorrowful? He says, Jana Chini Yogi Gade Sarvasata. He says, all that emerges is because of this sovereignty, in whose presence the rules of the world glow or grow, whatever you call it as. It is in his presence that all these things have that power. It can be either the Kalpataru or kalpawrukshs or Chintamani or Kaamadhenu. All these things are shining because of him. As the saying goes, Nadatta Suryo Bhadina Chandra Tarakam Nemo Vidyuto Bhanti Kutoya Bhagni. It is with that power where the sun shines. Without which the sun also cannot shine. And then he says, Taya Samyata Kayasi Konanta. Is there anything equivalent to him? All these things, so-called wishful, are they equivalent to Sree Ram? this is incomparable. You see, trying to defy that by words itself is our foolishness. Sri Ramchandraji is so ahead of all these things. O mind, understand. So, in his company, can there be sorrow? Whose omnipotence, homage, knows not how it works. Just you be there. You think it happens. Good or bad, that is secondary. You think it happens. You think bad, you get bad. You think good, you get good in double folds. Tomorrow don't blame. Ayyo, Ramji, why did you do this to me? You have done this. You have given this. Now are you? For everything he says, Tathastu. Understand? He is so magnificent because Sri Ramchandraji is above all fallacies. It's all a drama. In a movie, a villain or a hero, both are characters, both are not real. Isn't it? The world is a big drama. So here you aspire for something, he says, Sadhas, okay, take it. Tomorrow you say you don't want, he says, okay. So therefore, whenever you are with the saintly people, good people, noble people, think of that highest. That will be given. That will be given. As thy shall be given. So with this thought, we shall remain here for today. And thanks for being with